Hello! And welcome to episode 15 of
The Ed Factor.
Today we are going to have not a look at a Maiden album, but a look at Bruce Dickinson's
Fantastically monikered Balls to Picasso.
the strangely titled album Balls to Picasso. Yes.
So
So
I want to take a slight deviation and then a parallel track through the 90s, Andy.
yes. It's
We feel this is
heavy metal's cubism album.
pretty much.
Isn't it? So, yes, just to say, I suppose we should set the scene if you haven't been watching our previous episodes.
Yep.
Bruce Dickinson has departed Iron Maiden. We're
Yep.
going back to 93, 94.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's been working on what is his second solo album.
Yep. Now it began during the break before the recording of Real Life Dead one, or the break in the tour, wasn't it?
Yep. So on the Fear of the Dark tour,
Yep.
basically, he started working on a follow-up to his first solo album, which was Tattooed Millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the album that would become Balls to Picasso, which we're talking about today. But he had a few
False starts.
false starts,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
shall we say, yes.
Yeah.
And I think we're not going to talk too much before we delve into the album, but just
No.
to set the scene, I think it's pretty clear, and I think Bruce is quite open about this now, that he was searching for something,
Yeah.
and he wasn't quite sure what he was searching for.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I think he was sort of obviously the prep for the album and the initial recording, I think, happened before the split in Maiden.
Yep.
So he is looking to deviate. He has obviously, with Somewhere in Time, had ideas that were not that didn't fit in with the band, or sorry, should I say Steve Harris's, ideal for Maiden. So that's where the seeds were sown, and we've talked about that at length. And this is where he sort of has to go and find. It's a middle age sort of thing. It's like a midlife crisis.
Could be.
mid tenure in the band crisis. But as we mentioned in the last episode, there's a few things which happen which are sort of cumulative, and it leads to his departure.
Yep. Adrian Smith's departure after The Seventh Son.
Yeah.
And I think probably, for me, I think that Bruce sees that, I think he's unhappy with the quality of albums.
Yeah.
I think he's unhappy with Fear of the Dark.
Yeah.
Even though at the time he plugged it.
Yes, that's right.
He's not into it, doesn't like, obviously, the studio, Steve's
Barnyard
studio.
Yeah.
And it's the musical climate of the time.
Yeah.
Grunge is the thing.
Yeah, it's massive.
Or heavier stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a combination of the two. And
Yeah.
Maiden are I think Bruce can just see they're just being left behind.
Yeah, that we mentioned before. We talked about Countdown to Extinction, Black Album, and even all the like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and those sort of things.
Nirvana.
All those bands were absolutely exploding everywhere. Pantera, fantastically produced albums, and Bruce didn't feel that was the case. So what happens is then he decides that he is going to do something completely left field. What it did work out was, whenever we mentioned the band Skin in the last episode, and we talked about them, but he actually joined with them to do the novelty single for Comic Relief, a cover of Alice Cooper's "I Want to Be Elected"
With Mr. Bean.
with none other than
Ron
Mr.
Atkinson.
Bean himself.
Yes.
A man in the mid-90s, obviously known for his fantastic vocal prowess. So, doing it for a bit of fun, a bit of crack, as we would say here in Ireland, and oh, hold on. And making
that was what's known as a minor technical faux pas there. Chris forgot to press his audio record for the podcast.
Yeah, it's my card's full, Andy.
It's okay.
Picasso.
It's okay. We can get the audio.
Yeah, we'll get the audio for a second.
Yes.
This has happened before, but anyway, never so early. But so what was I saying? Yes. So obviously working with Skin, but I think what happened was that he wasn't really happy with what he came out with.
So he decides to bin the album he kind of starts to make, I don't know, it's not clear how many tracks he does, I don't think, but
no, there's not any in the reissue. I don't know. I
no,
don't think so.
He makes some stuff with this band's skin, and then he scraps it.
Yeah.
And then he
decamps, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes a completely different route, actually, and
decamps to LA. Works on electronic, putting stuff together with computers. Then, it's getting it recorded. So I think when I was doing a bit of research on this, he was building, you know, the way what would be sort of quite normal now in 2022. You can build tracks electronically. He was doing that with the very cutting edge at the time, which is probably about as much power as on a Casio watch now.
Yeah.
But and then what his idea was to get a band to play that. Now I have heard some of it, and it mentions Peter Gabriel in the book. Yeah,
it's kind of known as
very like that, you know. Yeah, it is. I don't know if any of those are bonus tracks on the remaster.
Well, yeah,
I haven't listened to the remastered.
There is on his best of Bruce Dickinson, which is like there's a whole load of stuff on it as well. I think No Way Out Continued is on it, and it's actually quite, I think it's Peter Gabriel-esque.
Yeah.
So it's a bit electronic, but it's a bit kind of gothic sounding. You know, it's not like we say electronic, sometimes people think of like dancey stuff. It's not.
It's programmed, probably a better word.
Yeah. You know, almost. Yeah. You know, if you fired some fuzzy guitars into it, it would be what is known as industrial. Yeah. You know,
like 9 Inch Fields is what I was thinking.
Yeah. But actually, the track "No Way Out" continues. It's actually quite a good track. So, but anyway, he actually goes down, and this is with a producer called Keith Olsen.
Yeah.
And he then bins that idea.
Yeah.
That album.
He kind of sort of thought, what am I doing here type thing, you know.
Yeah.
But alongside that, he comes across in the studio the CD from
a band called Tribe of Gypsies, which features a Mr. Roy Z. We would call him here,
Roy Z.
Ireland, but Roy Z.
But his real name is Roy Ramirez.
So there's a Z at the end of his name.
Yeah, I think he turned his name around, Zamaria, or whatever that is, backwards. I don't know. Cool. It's late.
A brilliant Brazilian guitarist, and this.
He's just blown away by that
unknown band that did he hear a CD or did he see them live somewhere?
I think he heard them in the studio first, and then he went and he went to find them.
Yeah, and he went to see them. Yeah, isn't that right? I just thought they were.
He is in that, but
so am I. I think it's in his autobiography. I think he talks about how he discovered Roy Z. But anyway, I think upon discovering him, and he was having doubts about this album, he decided, no, I have to make an album with this band. So I'm gonna have to scrap
all of those ideas.
This album as well. So it'll be 2 attempts. So as he admitted himself, to scrap an album once is bad, to scrap it 2 is careless, to go for a 3rd time's reckless, I think he said. But yes, that brings him to what eventually becomes this album, Buzz the Picasso, which is released in June 1994.
Okay, yeah. So that's quite a big gap, isn't it, between studio recordings? Fear of the Dark was May 92.
Yeah.
So we've had 2 years. Forget about Live Dead 1, Donington, Raising Hell, all that stuff we talked about. Yeah. It's a big gap.
Then your turn, Iron Maiden.
Yeah, but it's also songwriting wise as well. Maybe it's and of course we spoke about it at length in many episodes. The change. That was the last sea change in music from say 89 to late 91, I would say, regarding the music industry and the music business and what regarded was popular rock / heavy metal music at the time. Yep. So there's a huge shift.
I'd say it was a huge shift. I wouldn't say it was the last.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that at a different time. But
yeah, there's several. I would argue.
I mean, sort of music as a whole.
Yeah, but anyway,
okay,
so we'll talk about that another time.
That sounds like a fight in the pub chat, to be honest, folks.
No, an interesting debate. But you're right.
Hold on a minute.
There is a big shift, and I think Bruce just at this point isn't quite sure what type of album to make.
Yeah.
And anyway, he sees this great rock band, and he makes an album with this rock band and this
with Roy
brilliant guitarist, you know, and you know, some of the songs are, you know, the music is written by Roy and Tribe of Gypsies. But I suppose we could just delve into it track by track.
Let's go for it.
And go through it.
Yeah.
So
by the way, we in all vintage Ed Factor style, we have discussed meeting, what we were going to talk about, but nothing else.
Nothing about the album. I don't know whether he likes this, loves it, hates it. I don't know. And likewise, he's no idea what I think about this.
I have a confession to make. I had never really listened to this album properly until I started doing research for it.
Right. Okay.
I'm being totally honest with you. Same as it's like No Prayer for the Dying. It's like a new album.
Right, for you, yeah. Right, okay.
I know it's not for you. So
it's not for me.
No, it's not. No.
Familiar with it. Yeah.
As I say, Bruce Dickinson's solo work for me didn't kick in until the late 90s, which of course we'll talk about some other time.
Yes.
Yeah, as in regards regular listening.
We will be doing the other solo albums. We're going to go through the 90s, I think, chronologically.
Yeah.
So here, our next episode will be Maiden's X Factor. So, but we digress. Track number one. Cyclops. Clocking in at a rather massive 7 minutes 58 seconds.
Yeah.
An 8-minute to open an album with.
And falls into the Maiden epic territory.
Yes,
but it's slightly different.
Yeah. Doesn't have the shifts of atmosphere that a Maiden epic
doesn't.
Have, so
it doesn't.
Yeah. So my thoughts on this track, intro is Sabbathy.
First two words are Sabbath vibe.
Completely.
That just flat third or whatever it is. That
it's very much
that is,
like
music people.
The track Black Sabbath.
Yeah,
by Black Sabbath.
Very like it. Yeah. That's weird. That's exactly what I thought.
Is it? Yeah.
Exactly. Like literally, the first.
You just went. That sounds like Black Sabbath.
And the first minute of it, the distorted voice at the beginning.
It's Iron Man.
It's Iron Man. Yeah, that's weird.
That's exactly.
That's exactly what I thought.
Sabbathy intro, BS, Iron Man voice. So yeah,
that is weird.
That is weird.
That is weird.
But I suppose it's because it's true. If we both
absolutely. You know, and that's one thing Maiden never do is that shift, that modal shift or whatever you call it. That.
Yeah,
to make it sound dark.
No, they don't.
But
they don't.
So
really do that.
As a broadside for the start of a new album, I think it's an interesting choice of song. That's what I'll say for starts.
I think it's clearly this is a different palette of sound completely. I think it's a good. Then there's the riff kicks in.
Yeah.
If you would, and I like it.
I actually do like it.
I think it's a good track.
It's one of my favourite songs off the album, actually.
Yeah, I think it's a really strong.
It's how should I put it? It's Bruce sounds great on it.
Yep.
So he does, and that's the theme for the album. Roy has a more aggressive. No, that's maybe not the right word. He's got a more beefy sound than what Maiden have at the minute.
Yes.
You know, he definitely and the gear he's using, like I've watched him live, like he plays Fender Jaguars or something.
Yeah, he's
very grungy setup, but a great.
He gets a big guitar
sound out of it.
Now that's a big guitar sound, but not as big as he later goes on to generate.
Well,
and I think
that later, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably bring it up now because for me it's a bit of a recurring theme.
Yeah.
That sound wise, it's this track to me is heavy.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's that kind of mid-paced, weighty,
and
heavy.
It's of its time without being cliched as well. But good, in a good way, you know.
In a good way. I think the verses are kind of light but creepy.
Yeah.
And Bruce is really good at doing that vocal.
He's
kind
painting a picture with the vocal.
Yeah, I think the lyrics are really quite creepy as well. And saying off the time, actually, with the world we live in now, with phones and all being everywhere, I think it's actually more appropriate about the world now than the world then.
It's fun. It's quite funny, but yeah.
You know, a kind of almost like a Big Brother vibe world. You know,
like who knew?
Yeah, like
you know
who knew? So it's a track that for me is actually aged really well.
Aye.
But the production for me, if it was heavier, this would be it would be far better. I don't think the production gives the heaviness that the track deserves.
We've talked that that's been a 90s sort of theme the whole way through since we've started on the 90s, Andy. But yeah, I think this is obviously maybe just not so much of a budget thrown at it, and it's probably its only downfall. You know, not more effort, but more investment, maybe better production of equipment. I don't know what you would get out of it. It sounds better than a Maiden record, but it sounds better than Fear of the Dark. Yeah,
yes, it does.
Yeah.
Audio wise, it sounds better than Fear of the Dark. Could it have been budget? Maybe,
I don't know. You know, it's a solo album. Rod's his manager. You know, you're never going to put as much money into solo than you would in the main money making, which would have been Maiden. But
I think it's probably more to do with personnel.
Yeah. Okay. It's Shay Baby.
A guy called Shay Baby.
It does this. I think
who actually may have. Actually, I think Shay Baby might have pointed him in the direction of Roy C.
Oh, right. Right.
By the way.
Grand.
I think that rings a bell. I think Shay Baby was something to do with your man Olsen.
Yeah, right.
And through
maybe
that,
like an engineer or something.
Yeah, through that or something. But yes, he did produce it. But I think that Bruce was maybe caught between do I make a really heavy album? I think he quite clearly wants to distance himself.
He wants to do something different, you see.
He wants to do something different, and he wants to distance himself from Maiden.
And he's not quite back he's not quite back in the fold of what we come to expect from his later solo albums.
No.
So he still wants to experiment.
He's searching for something.
Yeah, and like this
sure
is, you know, I suppose you could say a Balls to Picasso could be work in progress, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or like if it was a Picasso painting that might be unfinished. But you know what I mean?
But a good track.
It's a great start.
It is a really good start.
I was surprised when I
you thought,
you know,
obviously
the only track I really knew, in fact, I'll not lie, the only track I knew off this album was
Tears of the Dragon. Yeah.
So I was expecting something along that kind of ilk. So when I heard that, I went, wow, that's pretty cool.
But this is, for me, this track is almost, it's a back to the roots of hard rock and metal.
Harken back to the originators, you know, Black Sabbath,
and you know,
there's a great, the outro was really good. The outro's
brilliant. Yeah, there's some kind of almost, you know, twin lead, although they actually don't go twin lead, but it's that type of
which
but
you know,
played, you know, the song is slower, it has a groove which is definitely absent on particularly, I think, Fear of the Dark and No Prayer of the Dying. You know, Maiden were going for the stripped back sound, but maybe a bit more at times full throttle or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's a great guitar solo.
I have to say, as our theme through this, Roy Z's guitar work on this is brilliant.
Sublime. He's a great player.
He's a fantastic player.
So if you haven't checked out this album,
you don't need to check. You know, this is a track you definitely should check out, folks. Yeah, really.
For those of you who like heavier music, which most of you will. Yeah. You know, maybe all of this album won't be for you, but this would be one of the tracks that I think would appeal to any. It would
be one I would listen to again.
Maiden fan or metal fan, even. Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, great start.
Great, yeah.
So
number 2, Hell No.
Number 2, Hell No. 5 minutes, 11 seconds, and I'm thinking with this track, this is shaping up to be a good album.
Well,
That's what I think. This is
I would
quite
say
a heavy track.
this is my favorite track on the album.
There you are. Yeah. Right.
I think this track is really ambitious.
Yep.
It's got some really deft touches in it.
Mm-hmm.
I love the intro.
Yep.
The drum intro and then the guitar intro. The guitar intro reminds me of, Kiowas by Sepultura.
Yes.
In a weird way. They're not the same, but that kind of there's definitely a tribal influence there, not only with the
Bongos
drums.
or something going, yeah.
Not only with the
percussive,
drums,
yeah.
but the guitar at the beginning. But and I think Bruce's vocal in this is amazing.
Yeah, I've written here.
Really good.
I would agree. I think it's one of the strongest tracks in the album. I think there's really great light and shade. I mean, the verses are low.
Yeah.
key.
It's the 90s formula, folks.
Kind of way.
Sort of light and then bang in with the chorus.
Bang in with the chorus. And the chorus has, I've used the word kind of creepy. There's a creepy kind of element to it, but amazing harmonies.
I think it's the way he twists his voice into those notes, those sort of flat notes.
Yeah.
Which he's
brilliant. That's one of his strengths.
It's a masterclass in this song,
Yeah.
It's his best vocal performance of the 90s to date.
Yes, as in
better than recorded.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Yeah.
His recorded output, this is the best song he's sang so far, and it's 1994, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I can hear many Maiden fans shouting, "What about Fear the Dark?" But
the recorded version of Fear the Dark's not that good.
No, it's the live version.
It's the live version that we love. Yeah,
stomping. So
yeah.
The harmonies are superb on the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Really superb, and it's a really smart song.
Yeah, it is.
Cool lyrics as well. So
and the end of it as well is good.
Yeah.
It's. I'd love to have seen that live.
Yeah.
Still would love to see it live.
Be a cool track.
I really would
to see. And the only other note I've written here, again, this would have benefited from heavier production.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It would have been, it would have been a fucking hell. Listen to that.
Yeah.
So
that's good. We're agreed so
far.
We're
on the same page.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting.
And I'm going to say, likewise for the theme of the heavier production.
Yeah.
For track number 3.
Yeah.
The rather monstrous
Gods of War. Yeah.
I think this is a fantastic track.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it's okay. I think it's good. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's just as good as the other two, but there's a couple of wee touches. But go on. I want to hear what you say first.
I would probably tend to agree with you, because I think if this album had have had the really heavy production of Accident of Birth or The Chemical Wedding, I think this track would have then superseded Cyclops and Hell No, because I think it really needs that. I mean, it's such a titanic chorus.
Yeah.
It's so big that I think the smaller production, or whatever way you want to put it, it doesn't quite come off.
Yeah.
Whether if it had that super heavy sound, it would just sound, immense. Yeah. So whereas Cyclops and Hell No get away with the lesser production a bit more.
Very, very clever. Yeah. Very good point, man.
That's the way I would see it. There's a great twin lead section.
There
in
is,
it, and a really nice little breakdown before Roy really shreds.
Yeah.
And the vocals are immense.
His vocals are
classic,
class.
Powerful Dickinson.
Yeah.
And just my note on the production, there is a version of this with the Chemical Wedding lineup with Adrian Smith and Roy Z playing it.
Shut up.
And it is bone-crushingly heavy.
Is it recorded or is it like live?
It's live.
I think I didn't watch. Is it the gig in Buenos Aires or something? A Brazilian gig. I watched a few of those.
This track is on it.
I must have missed that. I'm gonna watch something.
It's superb. So it is, and it just makes the point, because it's kind of
Wow.
It's what
it should be
at the time. What I kind of wanted. I remember at the time getting this album and kind of
you'd have got this when it came out. This was your Maiden fanatical phase.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got the singles and everything. So
Yeah.
I did, you know. Yeah. And I remember thinking, why hasn't he done an Ozzy Osbourne?
Yeah.
I expected or wanted
Bring
him,
in
to have this big, you know, do an Ozzy,
Yeah.
which was Ozzy left Black Sabbath and brought
in Randy Rhoads or
yeah,
Zakk Wylde.
At that time it was Zakk Wylde, I think,
Puffy
wasn't it?
Borden playing the drums.
You know,
Yeah.
it was big chunky guitars,
Yeah.
and I kind of thought, why didn't Bruce do that?
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't done that.
No.
Here, he's kind of not sure exactly what to do.
Aye.
But he's written some great stuff, and it's I mean, the first 3 tracks are really strong.
Before we move on to track 4,
what do you think?
I think this song is good. I've already said what I think about the song. I would love to have seen this reworked on a Maiden album.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's the most Maiden-y song on the album, I think.
Interesting.
It could be twisted. It would be rearranged. But I imagine if Dickinson Harris wrote that song. Now, it maybe would certainly have knocked about 10 songs off the track if they did it.
Yeah,
obviously wrote it around in and around about the same time, possibly. But I'd love to see what they would do with it now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's one. I was sort of thinking about it. I was thinking about it like it's a Maiden-y sort of song now. You know, and what would they do with it now?
Yeah.
You know, the vintage. You know, we're proggy and so what?
Yeah.
Maiden that we know and love now.
That we know and love. Yeah, there is proggy.
Imagine that being
touches there, but
Our Life and Death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What? Yeah, because
That'll happen.
Heavier,
you know what I mean?
heavier.
Yeah.
And that's not where Maiden were at that time, though.
No.
But
no, obviously, it's not. But
interesting that you got a Maiden hint off it. I have to say, didn't get a Maiden vibe. I've never thought of that before, but when you say it, it's like.
You could beat me and you could be saying that.
Yeah. It's got that great sing-along vibe, so for a great live track.
Yeah. And you know.
Yeah.
H on the Les Paul.
On the gold top Les Paul he is too.
I know. Anyway.
Scarf round neck. I know. So I mean we're 3 tracks in and
so far so good, guys.
So far so good. Yeah.
All 3 tracks, get them on YouTube, get a listen to them, download them.
You know, the only thing I'd criticise is say if it sounded beefier would be there.
Yeah.
But song wise, really strong.
Good choice. Good choices, choice. Well written, good tunes. Right, now, number 4.
Track number 4, 1,000 Points of Light, which is 4 minutes 25.
Yeah.
Now, this song isn't as strong for me.
No,
it's not.
We're starting to
go into.
It's a you know
uncertain territory. I think,
a
little bit.
I'll tell you what it's very like. There's a song I've heard, and this is a sort of rock rap sort of beginnings of funk influence. I can hear in this a bit. Right?
What do you mean, like Faith No More-esque?
Exactly.
Or that type of thing? Yeah.
I wouldn't say Bruce Dickinson was the world's biggest Faith No More fan. Luckily for you lot, I'm a massive Faith No More fan. So there's definitely, but not even so much Faith No More. There's another track on it which I think is a definite Faith No More tune. Could be. This is more like not the Chili Peppers, like Live in Colour. You ever hear them? No.
Yeah.
There's a song Live in Colour do, and this sounds quite like it. I can't remember the name of the song, but it sounds quite similar. You know,
right.
there's a definite, there's a groove to it. I don't really.
But it's the kind of territory.
Yeah, it is.
I'd say Live in Colour's a good shout. It's that type of thing.
You know, and the pacing of it sort of similar. You know, not an explosive song. Not really anything.
No, it's a bit bland. A bit
meh. I wrote here.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, I've written kind of heavy riff to start off with, a verse, but it's got a really light chorus.
Yeah.
I think it's really quite a kind of meandering, kind of weak
Yeah.
chorus.
The whole idea that the 1,000 points of light, I heard about that. You see, that's Neil Young, Keep on Rocking in the Free World. That's one of his lyrics.
Right.
In that,
Okay.
right. But then it's a speech by George W. Bush Sr., the
Former president,
the one that after Reagan. George H.W. Bush, to call him now. But he gave a speech about that, and that is in.
It's like guns firing in the night.
The Faith No More song, or no, the Living Colour song, I think it's got speeches in it too.
Right.
That's weird.
Okay.
Anyway, right, I need to go listen to that. But
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a cool kind of interlude riff.
Yeah.
Where the voiceover comes in. I'd say the best thing about the song is the guitar solo. There's a nice guitar solo in there.
Yeah. This is probably, for me, one of the more forgettable songs on the album.
It's more forgettable.
I'll be honest.
So. And to be fair, I'd also kind of put here, there's like a light breakdown with actually rather a kind of tender vocal. And what we kind of have to, I suppose, remember is he's experimenting.
Yeah.
Here. And this, I think, is more of a let's go somewhere I maybe haven't quite been
I
before.
think this is more,
track,
this is 70% maybe Royce, influence. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
maybe
that's
70-30.
Probably fair. Yeah,
I don't know, but
I wouldn't say it's a bad song, but it's not as strong as the previous three.
Yeah.
It's all right. Just next track.
So we're going.
Yeah.
Laughing in the Hiding Bush.
Laughing in the Hiding Bush.
The original name of this album, folks.
Yes, this is what he wanted to call the album.
Not named by Bruce himself, but by
his son,
Austin. Yeah, who was 3 at the time. So
just it's normally what your 3-year-old says.
Well, I have one, and she doesn't say that normally. She usually just says put Paw Patrol on. I think Paw Patrol would have you in court, but anyway. Yeah.
That is what he wanted to call the album.
Yeah.
And that was, I think he kind of suggests that was poo-pooed on him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is my Faith No More song.
Okay, yeah, this is a Roy Z song.
Yeah.
It's actually the first song we wrote together.
Yeah. That's right, he played the riff for it, didn't he?
Played the riff. And again, there's a live version of this with the Chemical Wedding, Adrian Smith in the band, and it sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think it's a good song. I do think it's one of the ones. Again, I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, folks. That the production lets it down when it's that live version. In the Chemical Wedding era, sounds so heavy.
Yeah, I think the lyrics kind of let it down a bit. The lyrics are slightly lame, I would say. There's a game the children play when they come from school,
And he skills that. Yeah, then that yes, but having said that, I like the other one about the other line.
The Joker, that one?
No. About flying the flag, fallen heroes. I think there's some good lines in there, but I get your point. The line you've just mentioned
the way it's sang, or the way it's sung, is brilliant.
Who remembers the name of fallen heroes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quite like the way
to fly their flag, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a great melody.
Yeah.
I think it's a really, really strong melody from that point of view, and he knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
Don't think the chorus is as good as the verse.
No, the chorus it reminds me a wee bit of like a Faith No More chorus, only that Mike Patton would be singing something over the top of it.
Yeah, fair enough. It's odd. It does work better live with
age.
yeah. Or Roy Z in his proper gear, sounding proper and big heavy drum sound and a rumbling bass. It's amazing just how different it sounds. So I think this is I think it's better than 1,000 Points of Light.
Yeah, definitely.
But not quite as good as the top 3.
Yeah.
I think so. A decent track, still a decent track, and there is a brilliant guitar solo in it.
Yeah, there is.
Again,
a brilliant guitar solo.
Yeah, brilliant guitar solo in it.
Could be the best of the album. I don't know.
Yeah. So Yeah, I mean, so far again. Yeah,
okay.
So it's okay.
Yeah,
I guess it's an okay.
Give
track.
it a spin. You'll like the first three more.
Yeah, you like your first three
Yeah.
more. I think I think that's a fair point. This track is it's okay. It's okay.
I've highlighted it. I don't know why, but I can't remember why in my notes. But you know, it must be one that I quite like. It's definitely I love the vocal, the melody, and it's very good. It is,
Yeah.
But lyrics less so, but anyway. Track 6. Turn the tape over. Track 6.
Change of heart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Change of pace.
Change of pace.
Change of mood.
Yes.
Change of underpants.
Absolutely. Change of.
Change into something more comfortable, like a silk kimono.
I was going to say change of ridiculously coloured trousers with elasticated waistbands.
Change of harem pants.
But yes, this is one of the more experimental songs on the album.
Yeah.
And mixed results, I'd say. Mixed results. Parts are good.
Like the intro.
Yeah.
The intro's nice. Good playing, you know.
Yeah. It's a ballad-esque kind of song.
Yeah. I want to know, Andy, did you then come across the version by the band Driver?
No.
Right.
I
heard
Roy Z's former band. Is it this song?
I
no.
Can't, and somebody will find out. I can't get whether he did this after Balls of Picasso or before. Because if he did it, the version that I heard, if he did it before, it sounds perfect for that band. It's like a Chicago or a Foreigner vibe.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But then if he did it before, Bruce Dickinson didn't write this song.
No, Bruce Dickinson just wrote the lyrics. So it's different lyrics, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think
the chorus was the same. Didn't listen to it that much, folks. Sorry, but
I haven't heard it, so I can't really say. But my understanding was it was a song that was written, and then Bruce Dickinson wrote lyrics.
Because I did a wee bit of work on it,
you know?
and I thought it had to be before. But then when I searched Driver and I searched the album that it was off, it said it was in 2008. So I was like, right,
could have been reissued and something.
Oh, I don't know, but it was.
If anyone knows the answer to that,
let us know, because
you know,
it is like alphabetic spaghetti sometimes when you're trying to research stuff like this.
Yeah.
Maiden's hard enough, but Bruce Dickinson solo albums from the mid-90s is even worse.
Which is,
but no, and it sounds really good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It sounds perfect for a band like that. You know what I mean? Like a lushly produced, vocal harmony. You know, not heavy, but you know, just
polished radio rock type thing. Yeah.
AOR, like, you know, not
adult oriented rock, that is, folks.
They know Andy. So but yeah, it's a mediocre, I would say.
I'd say it's pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
It's
it doesn't sort of sit in place in the album.
No, it's alright, it's experimental, that's one thing, but for me this is one of the tracks that really jumps out as the kind of I think a bit of a identity crisis musically. That Bruce is searching for something and he's not really sure what it is that he's searching for.
Yeah.
You know, who is he trying to appeal to? Well, I think he said that the thing is he wasn't really trying to appeal to anyone. He was trying to find something himself.
Right.
And that the album was in some way cathartic. And maybe some of this will tie in with my final thoughts on it. But yeah, this song doesn't quite sit. Although the lyrics are quite interesting in that it's quite clear that he's actually saying that.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, he's walking away.
It's quite personal.
Yeah, you know.
Or maybe it is. Maybe he's playing a character. I don't know. It sounds quite personal.
No, it sounds very much like a step into the unknown.
Yeah,
is what this song is about,
and
it's probably quite apt that.
Like a Henry Miller quote from.
Yeah. But it is. He's walked away from Maiden, but I don't think he knows what he's walking into or what to do musically. And I guess the music sums that up. What are you giggling at?
Just imagine what Nico would say if he heard that.
Yeah, well,
that song. If it was about leaving me.
Yeah.
Eco man.
I can't imagine Balls to Picasso got many spins on the Maiden tour bus.
Oh, I know.
on the X Factor bus. I can't imagine it was on their CD players at the time. No. So yeah, a strange track.
It doesn't sit. It doesn't sit. It's sort of. It's a bit of an odd tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the vocals are well sung as always.
Yeah.
You know,
you can't fault his vocals in this at all.
Never. You know, the voice is powerful and it's, you know, there, and I think the lyrics are meaningful. But yeah, is it? I guess this is what it boils down to for a track like this, and maybe for the album as a whole. Is it what you want to hear when you say to yourself, I'm going to listen to Bruce Dickinson?
Yeah, it's not.
And the answer is no.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's not the type of thing you want to hear. You know, you want to hear him, you know,
screaming bloody murder.
Yeah, about, you know, something medieval mandrakes or something like that, you know. And
we both found Seven Son there, Andy. That's weird.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but kind of dark stuff. And that's not to say he doesn't do emotive things really well as well.
Oh, I'll name.
Yeah. But storytelling and that.
Yeah.
This, not so sure. Just musically as well, not so sure.
Well.
But I'm completely sure about the next track. As in, this is the low point of the album for me.
Change of Heart is an Ivor Novello winning masterpiece compared
to the next track. Yeah, sorry, Bruce. We love you, but I am going to say, Should All the Clowns. What were you thinking? I think this is an awful song. I've actually just written awful.
My first thing is Should All the Clowns, track 7, wrong on all levels. Now, let me read the whole thing before we talk about this. I mightn't talk too long. Starts off as a Britpop number.
Okay, yeah.
Funky riff, awful twice lyrics, right?
Yeah.
And the rap, piss off.
Yeah.
Right? A Metal Chili Peppers number. I love it. It's terrible.
It's terrible. Terrible.
Shut him down!
It's awful. The rap bit is really cringeworthy.
It is. It's. Of course, he's experimented, but have a word in his ear, like.
Yeah, someone should have went. No, don't do that, Bruce. No,
through the window, the control bit.
I know. Yeah, I suppose, yes, as you're saying, he's experimenting. The only thing we could say in his defense is that he never rapped again. I suppose to say.
Yeah, fair enough.
The only thing that we can say. Yeah. I think what gets me is, like, I have written here as well, this was the second single of this album.
I remember, oh my God, I just had a flashback. Bruce Dickinson was Nevermind the Buzzcocks.
Yeah.
Which was a British television BBC programme. It was like a funny comedy music panel show where they answered questions.
Asshole of a presenter as well. I really didn't like him.
Mark Lamar?
I hate him.
Do you?
I hate him.
If I
ever met him, I'd bust his head.
Oh, he's probably dead on
No, he's not.
Have you met him? No.
He was an arsehole to Slash, and he was an arsehole to Bruce, and he was an arsehole to Danny Filth as well. He doesn't like metal musicians, therefore I don't fucking like him.
He's a nifty 50s con man, as fucking Bob would say.
Do you know what he is?
What?
He's a trend guy.
Okay.
Right. And I hate that commercial.
Come on, back.
Mark Lamar.
Come back to me.
Don't
come on, Andy. Stop that now. Right.
Don't like the guy.
Anyway.
And where is he now?
Anyway, Bruce Dickinson was on Nevermind the Buzzcocks, and this was me watching it, loved a bit of crack on a whatever evening it was on, and then I knew nothing of this, and seen his video. Obviously, when they introduced Bruce, every artist they put on a wee bit of their track, and I was Shoot All the Clowns. There's me. I was like, what? Is this
funny?
Nonsense.
I didn't see that. I actually saw him on. He was on Nevermind the Buzzcocks when Accident of Birth came out.
Was he?
It's the first time I heard like it showed a clip of Accident at Birth.
Right, grand. No.
And I was like,
this was before that.
that's Taylor Swift! And it was, rather, right, I have to get that. Can't wait. That's more like it, you know. Where have you been? But...
So, Shoot All the Clowns.
You had the misfortune of seeing Shoot All the Clowns on the TV. Yeah. I actually bought the CD single.
Of course you did.
And no.
It's terrible.
Me and Maka might have went halfers on it, my mate. But yeah, it's awful song, awful cover as well. What was he?
I don't know, I haven't seen the cover.
He's wearing like flying gear and he's behind that, you know, the wall that he's, you know, why the front.
Oh, I have seen it.
Which is, we haven't discussed the album cover. We'll maybe discuss that at the end.
We are going to discuss it at the end because there's a couple of things to say.
Yeah, so we'll discuss also the cover of that single.
But Jesus, I don't really have anything more to say about it.
No, it's an awful track that is best
It's definitely
forgotten.
a skip.
Yeah, definitely a skip.
Awful.
And anytime I play this album, I did listen to it in its entirety just to do this review.
Yeah.
And I mean, once.
Yeah.
I listened to the album.
No, I kept listening to it. It was like kind of, like watching slow motion stuff, bad stuff.
Car crash.
Yeah. You know. It was terrible.
Let's move on from Shoot All the Clowns because it's a woeful track.
Number right. So we're rock bottom.
And sorry, even with a really weak chorus as well. It's just there's nothing, no redeeming feature.
But it's the rap. The rap is
awful.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, right. Track number 8. It's Fire.
Yeah, Fire's not a bad tune.
And this is more like
it's. I thought to myself, a wee sort of. I hear a wee like a heaviness, like a Pantera type of heaviness.
Yeah.
You know, they had a groove.
Yeah.
They had an immense heaviness, but they also had a groove too. They could play fast, but they also had a real groove. Now,
I think it's got.
That's it. Just
Black
that one.
Groove,
Okay.
Maybe a Soundgarden type groove. That type of a thing. Maybe. But a groove. And again, one of the songs that definitely with bigger and heavier production would sound awesome.
Immense, yeah,
you know?
it would.
Because the melodies are great.
Yeah.
The chorus I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really cool. Again,
that's the bit of a sort of thing that was more Pantera,
thing.
you know.
Yeah. I can.
Your dimers could be up and down the fretboard and that kind of like on the ding.
Pitched harmonics.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah.
Riff wise, I could definitely see a link there.
Now I don't particularly. Again, it's gone up again. But it's not to the same level of the
first three tracks.
No, it's not.
I think this is a great track. I think it's up there. I think it just suffers from not having that really big production.
Yeah, I just kind of think, you know...
A really heavy production, I should say.
It doesn't... it's okay. It's actually a track I'd probably listen to the least. And that includes Shoot All the Clowns because, again, it's the car crash thing. But, you just, you know, it would be the one that I could not recount to you now in some sort of club style or like high pitched falsettos, but yeah, yeah. It's pretty good.
Good track.
It's okay.
Good track.
It's okay. I say okay. Yeah. So we haven't talked in any real depth about these tracks as much as we did at the beginning. It's quite telling, I think.
It is. You know, the first 3 tracks so far have been the strongest.
Yeah, Laughing at Hiding Bush is good too.
Yeah. And I'd say that this track is good, not great.
Yeah,
you know,
give it a listen again. Listen to this. Let us know what you think about this particular track.
I think it's good, not great.
Yeah,
that's probably where we're at. It's you know, good track. Good track. Track number 9.
Secret Cowboys.
So I've mixed feelings about this song. So I do.
Okay. I actually quite like this song.
Sorry for saying so I do. There's sound like a real Ulster man.
On the second, if this was side 2 of the album, this would be the first song I'd be going. That's pretty good.
Right. Okay.
It's interesting. The bit at the beginning is mental. like the scat lyrics at the beginning. I don't. It sounds like something, and I can't think what it sounds like that I've heard before.
Okay,
you know that sort of. I don't know. It's different. It's an experiment, and it's going on a left field.
Yeah,
right? But I think the chorus in this song's class.
Yeah, I agree. I've got it written here, odd verse vocally. I think it's odd that. Not sure.
You say odd, I say interesting.
Yeah. So it's hard to. It's a strange thing, and as you say, he's experimenting.
Yeah, it is. This is a good experimentation. This is the song "Shoot All the Clowns Could Have Been."
Yeah,
with about 9,000 changes.
Yeah. There's a cool riff in there.
Yeah,
and I think it's a great chorus.
Catchy.
Really, really catchy.
Very catchy.
This is one of the songs you hear it and you know.
It rings a bell in your head somewhere.
It'll be stuck in the back of your head.
It's been stuck in my head for quite some
You'll
time.
have that John Wayne line running through
and again, the vocals go a different somewhere else than what you think they would normally.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I do think is very good. And I've written here, and I don't know why I have, but nearly like a Wicker Man sort of DNA in there. In the pacing of the chorus. You know what I mean?
You could very easily gallop. I know Wicker Man doesn't gallop, but you could very easily gallop this track up.
This bit could be, you know, obviously not be doing a bloody chorus bit, but there's a DNA there.
There's
a wee strand.
A wee strand there. So that's
the chorus is really good.
Decent track. I'm not sure about that. The first thing.
Yeah, no. As I say, I like it. I do like it. It's different.
Yeah.
Good, different.
Good, but not great.
Yeah, good, but not
you
great.
You put it in that kind of category again.
Yeah.
You know. And it's a short track as well.
Yeah.
I possibly one of the criticisms. I haven't really mentioned this so far. I mean, this song's 3 minutes 54. I think some of the tracks are too long.
On the album,
I think some of the tracks kind of overstay their welcome.
Yeah,
and ironically, it's some of those songs that are only 4 minutes.
Yeah,
something, I mean, Shoot All the Clowns is 4 minutes 24 seconds too long,
and you're never getting that back.
But Change of Heart's like 5 minutes nearly, and it goes on too long. I think Laughing in the Hiding Bush probably goes on a bit too long. Yeah, it's 4:20 but it feels longer, which. Yeah. It's rather telling.
Yeah.
You know, if you can have really, really long songs and they don't feel like a long song.
Yeah.
Like you can listen to Hallowed Be Thy Name, I think, and it doesn't.
You can listen to Hell on Earth.
They don't sound like long songs. But some of these are only 4 minutes and they feel like they're really quite a long song. Cyclops is a cool track. It probably doesn't need to go on for 8 minutes.
So, it could be,
even though we said
on 5.
Yeah,
you could have.
Even though we said the outro was cool and all, and there's some cool bits going on. I'm not sure it needs to be 8 minutes long. So there's a recurring theme there as well. But final track, I wouldn't say that about.
No.
It's
a bona fide.
The best track in the album.
Yeah, I agree. Smasher.
Is Tears of the Dragon.
Yeah.
I'm sure even if you haven't heard this album, if you're a Maiden fan, which you will be, otherwise you wouldn't be watching us.
Yeah, exactly. Especially this episode.
Especially this episode. But you'll know what Tears of the Dragon is, and it's a fantastic song. Really,
he's singing it at the spoken word tour just before he finishes.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic song. I don't really know what there is to say about it. Well, I suppose I do. Musically, it's great.
It's a great ballad of power, though.
Yeah, it is, and the lyrics are fantastic.
Yeah, they are. They are brilliant. It's really Maiden never do right from the heart as such. But this is it's really good.
This is kind of. It's I suppose we're saying Maiden didn't write from the heart, but at this point in time, you probably had attempts to Wasting Love is exactly what I was going to say. If you watch our Fear of the Dark episode, you'll see our thoughts thoughts on that track, which we
Still haven't watched the video of it.
didn't know either, but
No, I did, but anyway.
no, I know I haven't. Can't bring myself to do it.
This
but this actually works.
Great message, great tune. Yeah.
Great message, great tune.
Yeah.
And the production in this works.
Do you like the production? I think it's a bit old, the production in it.
I think the production works.
Is it? I don't know whether it's me or not.
Because it's acoustic guitars, it doesn't mess.
It's quite a lo-fi production, though.
I don't think so.
Do you not think so?
I don't think so.
Just in the opening of it, I think could be a bit slicker. But well, it's
Really?
just a very, very minor. I don't think it sounds like the rest of the album. You know, I do think it was probably recorded at maybe a different studio or a different time.
Has a different drummer.
Oh, right, okay.
It is not Chris Ingram, who is the drummer of Tribe of Gypsies lineup.
Okay.
On this and on the Accident of Birth and Chemical Wedding, he's the drummer. But it's a different drummer on this track. I don't know why. It would suggest that it's maybe recorded somewhere else. You could be right.
Possibly. That just doesn't sound.
It doesn't.
Sonically, it doesn't. Not that I'm saying it fits in, sounds like a bad thing, but
no,
it just sounds a wee bit different.
It does. I would agree. It does sound different to the rest of the tracks.
Yeah. Okay, so that's alright. I thought it was just me going deaf.
No, it's not. But rather than it being in a lo-fi way, I think it actually sounds better. Maybe better produced than the other tracks. I think it sounds a bit more polished, a bit more. The acoustic guitars are really clean and bright.
I think at the beginning the acoustics sound a bit odd, but but the rest of it sounds fine. You know, when the band comes in, and then when you have the breakdown into the really cool part. You know.
Yep. Yep.
This song sounds so much better with Adrian Smith as well, and it's a great song.
It's a great song. Yeah.
You know, that was one of the things of that gig I did catch was.
Yep.
Smithy playing the intro and the ovation
on
the stand first.
Yeah.
And then he brings out the yoke, like gold top.
Sounds great.
The way he goes.
Sounds great.
Really good.
It's a brilliant
really
track
good.
here. It possibly does, actually, it actually is. Well, I didn't write down the length of time. It's actually quite a long
I
song.
think it's 6 minutes, 12 or something like that.
And I do feel that for it to be the first single, I should have checked, was there a radio edit? Because I know he also did an acoustic chill out version of it.
Yeah.
And there is there's a really cool acoustic jam version, him doing it just with a guitar, which I don't think is Roy Z. It might be that guy he got to be the guitarist for the Skunkworks thing. It might be him. I'm pretty sure it's not Roy. It's just an acoustic guitar and them sitting like us, actually, on a couple of stools, and he really rips it out, like, you know. But it's a shorter version. Obviously, they don't do all the, you know. It almost goes reggae at a point.
Yeah.
This song,
there is a part of it where it does do that near enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
and I hate reggae, so it's really good.
yeah. I'm not a big fan.
It's really good that I don't. Oh, that's reggae, and I quite like it.
But I guess I suppose Bruce is probably on this album. He's trying to use this band, the Tribe of Gypsies, and you know throwing those kind of influences in. That's probably what they do.
Yeah,
what they are, and he's having to give them their
bouncing off.
He wants to give them their space. But this is it's a great track.
Yeah,
you know,
brilliant
solo.
Yeah,
as well.
It is a brilliant solo.
I just think if he'd wanted a big radio hit, he could have cut a lot of the instrumentation out.
And he would have definitely got it there.
Yeah,
that's a great song. Great songwriting.
It is a great track, but having said that, we're saying he would have definitely got it. It wouldn't have mattered what he had done. Probably the radio stations wouldn't have played it anyway.
Yeah,
you know, simply that's kind of the way things were. So maybe that's why he didn't bother. But a brilliant track, and reflective of, again, what he's been through.
Yeah.
In leaving Maiden. So Best track in the album?
By far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. So we've been quite sort of similar.
On the same page with this one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
we
kind
have.
of weird, but yeah.
Yeah. So final thoughts.
Yeah,
I
final
suppose.
thoughts. Yeah.
Do
Well,
you want to go first?
I do. If you don't mind.
Go for it.
I think it's a mid-90s album.
Mm-hmm.
Could only have been made in the mid-90s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
In that it is of its time. I think this is an alternative rock album as opposed to a metal album or whatever, and it paves possibly the way that Bruce wanted to carry on the rest of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Roy C is the MVP, music wise.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant solos the whole way through.
Yep.
Really carries it.
Yep.
But Bruce's vocal, this is the best Bruce vocal since Seventh Son.
Yeah.
It could.
I would agree with that.
It's amazing.
Yeah. His voice sounds great.
Really let himself come out of the traps, and he went to places that he wouldn't have been able to go through in the confines. And I don't like saying that, in the confines of Maiden, but you know, he obviously felt limited, and this is the sound of somebody free and singing, and the vocal performance is amazing. It is great, and even in the crappier songs, you know, he's really good. Light and shade, singing in registers that Maiden wouldn't have afforded him, perhaps.
Agree.
You know, definitely. You know, definitely a highlight.
Yeah.
Like, if you like Bruce Dickinson, if you like the Bruce Dickinson era of Maiden, which the vast majority of us do prefer it's you gotta listen to the vocal performance in this and just think, like in Gods of War, what might have been had they have toughed it out, had certain decisions at certain junctions weren't made. Now, the other thing as well, on the flip side of that, Bruce definitely needs somebody to write with.
Yeah.
He needs a writing partner. And there are tracks in this album, which obviously Roy Z being in the, you know, the very first the fertility of the new relationship, maybe was too polite to turn around and say, shoot all the crowns of shag. But
possibly,
you know, that's being extraordinarily blunt. But you know, as a partner, they get all you know, they work very well together. Obviously, I think Roy was in a bit of in awe of Bruce, possibly. You know, it would be like, you know, somebody from, couldn't even think about a modern band, but you know what I mean. And your rock star hero turns up and says you want to start doing stuff together. You know, so you know, it does have those parts, the magnificent parts of the singing. Some fantastic songs, definitely some songs worth a listen. And Tears of a Dragon would make, you know, it should make top 10s of certain different types of rock tracks. I think
it's a great track.
It's really underrated.
really underrated track. No, I wouldn't disagree with anything you've said there, so to speak.
It's really good today. It's like peace and love.
I maybe
have Mark Lamar.
Yeah, apart from Mark Lamar. Get me started. I maybe have a slightly different take on it.
Okay,
though.
no, of course.
So I think that I agree with what you're saying, that this is an album of its time, and on that it's that a lot of the 90s see these grunge bands coming on, and you see a lot of the metal bands and the thrash bands actually in by 94 they're moving into a more melodic, middle of the road type of style, you know,
metallic,
following the Black Album. Now, you know, 94, like, you know, Megadeth released Euthanasia. It's like before Load, by the way, 2 years before Metallica do Load, and I'd argue it's far more melodic and it you know, it's the tempo's down. you know, Mustaine took that next step actually before Metallica
Yeah.
made Load.
And
obviously,
you'd even say, even looking at Soundgarden, the difference between Bad Motor Finger and
Super Unknown, which comes out in '94.
Yeah, I've actually been listening to both those
know?
albums quite a lot recently, and there's a big difference.
And Soundgarden are a great band to actually talk about. I was going to mention them because I think Bruce Dickinson has said before, and I think he said it numerous times about some of these grunge bands that they were against, you know, the hair metal stuff and all. And I think Bruce felt that maybe Maiden were being lumped in, and he was being lumped in with that. But yet, you know, they were never that. We weren't a hair metal band.
No.
You know, that's not what we were. Yeah. And actually, you know, like Soundgarden sound like Sabbath.
They do.
It's just
Listen
sound like
Bad
Sabbath.
Finger,
you know,
is,
and you know, I love Sabbath.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, going back to those grunge bands that stripped away a lot of the nonsense and went back to the kind of more rooty rock bands, earlier rock bands.
Yeah, you could say
stripped back.
Yeah, you could say Pearl Jam were more like a Who and an Aerosmith sort of vibe. You're right.
Yeah.
Soundgarden more Sabbath. Have you ever heard Soundgarden's Is It Louder in Love, the one before? Like it was, you know, it was a Sub Pop album. It's very metal, you know, classic sounding.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alice in Chains sounded a bit hair metal-y themselves early on, you know.
Pantera.
Yeah, but not that Pantera grunge.
We're absolutely not. But you know,
but yeah, there's been that shift, and Bruce is trying to find something here. Where do I fit in? He's trying to be find relevance.
He's trying to be relevant,
I think, and he's also trying. In a strange way, I think he's caught between a rock and a hard place, because I think he tries to distance himself from Maiden and distance himself from metal.
Yeah.
And part of that is the image and the album cover, which is just ridiculous. Like he's standing wearing, you know, looks like he's wearing a pair of pajama bottoms.
Have you seen the proposed album cover?
Yeah. It was like
It was designed by Storm Thorson.
Yes. It's like a big sphere of lots of scrap or something.
It was subsequently used on an Anthrax album.
Yes, because he didn't have the budget to pay.
Yeah, he didn't have the money to pay
for the album cover.
Which kind of sort of made me sort of influence what I said earlier on.
Which you could be right, you know, about the recording, absolutely. But I think the album suffers from maybe a bit of a not sure what direction to go into.
Yeah.
But definitely the production, because there's an uncertainty and there's an ambiguity. And I brought this here because I thought there's the Bible of Bruce, because he says.
I wish IRS would put a book out.
Oh, he will.
Oh, Dave Murray, that's the one I'd really like to read, about 4 pages long.
I'll blah.
Chuckles. Just chuckles.
We just had a great time, you know, something like that. Yeah, but Bruce says. Balls to Picasso had limited success. In retrospect, it should have been a much harder and heavier album. Much of this could have been achieved if Roy Z had produced it. But, out of caution, Shea Baby was given the honours.
Yeah.
It was a little too early to throw Mr. Z into the pot head first. I think Maiden fans were variously angry, confused, and many other emotions as well over my departure. So, as the old military adage goes, no battle plan ever survives first contact with the enemy. I'm way off to Bosnia. But yeah, I think that kind of...
He doesn't really talk an awful lot about this, you know, I find, in the book, you know.
No, that's probably it. He says Tears of the Dragon was a big track on it. Most of it was done at Goodnight LA Studios. Of the various other tracks, most of them sounded emasculated.
Yeah.
And that was just a product of the people involved. I didn't feel any closer to a new beginning except when I worked with Roy Z, who enabled me to be myself as opposed to overthinking who or what I should be.
Yeah.
So I think those little quotes just kind of point at everything we're saying there about the uncertainty. Roy, as a songwriter, the seeds have been planted there. There's something there in this project, there's some good songs, but I don't think and I think he said this, Bruce doesn't know Roy. He doesn't actually know what Roy's actually capable of. You know, I think at this point he thinks he's a talented guitarist who's done a little bit of production and may have been able to produce it, and maybe thought about it, but decided not to push for that because Roy Z wasn't proven, as he said there. But it turns out, and as he clearly says, you know, Roy's an amazing producer, and maybe they just needed the time for there to be another bit of a shift in the industry, and to come round full circle to Bruce getting his head into the right. I'm going to go full metal again, and
trust as well, I suppose.
Trust as well, yeah. But that happens further down the line. So a mixed bag.
Yeah, as I said, metaphorically, this album is a bag of licorice all sorts.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Some tasty ones.
Yeah.
Some ones you want to spit out as soon as you bite in them.
Worth a listen, as you say, for Bruce's vocal performance.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I'm sitting here. I haven't listened to Skunkworks yet.
Right.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to. But I these albums.
Yeah.
You know, these two albums, this and Skunkworks, I have to deep dive, and I will do, and I'll listen to them for about 2 or 3 weeks, nothing else. But I did with this, you know, in prep. So, you know, give it a real good listen, you know. So I get my first impressions, and then, you know, live with it for a while. Yeah. But I don't. I would love to hope. I would hope that the vocal performance is as good. Right, I don't spoil it.
I'm not gonna say avoid.
So the other thing about this, well, no, the last thing is who's going to buy this album?
Well, I think that is one of the key points over it. It's
you know,
there
Maiden
isn't
fans.
Well, yeah, but as he's just kind of alluded to there, you know, how are Maiden fans going to go out and buy this? A, he's just left Maiden, and then B, you know, he's wearing a pair of pajamas, but on a cream-coloured wall. You know, the image.
Recollection of you said something about another guitar hero wearing his pajamas on stage. One that would smile an awful lot during Live After Death. You were going on about him wearing pajamas on stage.
Aye. Steve Murray in Live After Death was wearing his pajamas. Well, they were almost a similar getup. Stripy tracksuit bottoms. It's like, you know, image-wise, you know, it couldn't be less metal. The cover of this album looks awful.
Yeah, it's crap.
You know, it doesn't. How is it ever going to appeal to anyone? Whoever,
apart from you, who love Maiden.
Well, actually,
there are still people out there who like me, who love Bruce. Like,
I wanted,
and I'll support him. Not many.
I was 14 at the time, and I did think that album cover looks shit.
Yeah.
But I'd heard Tears of the Dragon on Top of the Pops. Yeah. Thought that's cool.
Oh, there's a clip I need to dig out.
You know, I like that. But the album, I wanted it to be metal. Like I said, I wanted him to kind of do an Aussie, and I was hoping that that's probably the radio track. There'll be heavier stuff on it. And at the time, I was kind of left a bit, you know, a bit kind of, you know, he sounds. I suppose I think it's a bit more interesting now as an older listener. You know, than I did then. I like some of the songs, but I wanted them to be heavier. I still have that feeling. But who was it made for? And I don't think it was made for anyone. I think Bruce
it's made for him.
It's a cathartic. I'm searching for something I don't quite know, you know, and that comes across. Not a bad effort though, and you know, there's many couldn't make an album as good as this. No, you know, in the best of times.
Absolutely.
This is leaving the band you've been in, you've made your name in, and you're just kind of actually without. I think one of the key things is that Bruce left. There was no plan. He didn't think up a plan. All right, I'm going to do this, and
Yeah.
I'm going to do that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
half a dozen songs here. I'm
Mhm.
going to take with me. It wasn't like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
It was just he decided I can't do this anymore. I have to leave.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, and then he, oh, yeah, okay, I'll do the tour.
Yeah.
And, it was a bit traumatic and probably damaged his reputation a bit in pissing off maybe some Maiden fans. And, I think then all of a sudden it's like, right, what do I do now?
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
There's that kind of so he was searching for something, and the key thing is his voice sounds great.
It sounds phenomenal.
And so anything else you'd like to add, Chris?
Well, just that. No, not really. Basically, that was my sort of. I was sort of thought like the people that would buy this album and now still would buy it would be Maiden fans. It's not going to bring any new
fans
to the fold.
No, it's not. It's not.
It certainly isn't. So
there's nothing new or groundbreaking or anything, and that's a really good point actually. And I also do think it's strange now that you come to say that the best song in the album is Tears of the Dragon, an acoustic song, the like of maybe which you think might have been the kind of stuff he wanted to do in Somewhere in Time. And none of us have ever heard the other
that's true.
these acoustic songs that he had, and for the more chilled out acoustic stuff of the Somewhere in Time era, it is also not without irony that once out of Maiden that he didn't go and make an acoustic album. Which at the time, by the way, when did all the MTV Unplugged stuff come about?
Well, sort of 91, 2, 3, Pearl Jam was 92, Nirvana was 93.
This is 94. That was still all ongoing.
Yeah, that
surely.
was massive. Yeah.
So commercially, it would have been a better move for him. I think from that point of view, and I think
fair point. Yeah.
It would have appealed to. It would have had the possibility of appealing to a broader audience.
Yeah.
You're saying who would buy it?
Yeah.
Well, if he'd had a load of acoustic songs, he'd had more chance of getting maybe some radio play or something and reaching out to a new audience. And it would have had an identity.
Yeah.
Which I don't think this quite has.
It struggles to find one.
It struggles to find an identity. Is it a metal album? Well, no, it's not. Because it's not packaged as a metal album, and it doesn't. The guitars aren't big enough. It doesn't sound heavy
Production's
enough.
not there.
But yet, actually, if you listen to it, the best songs on it are pretty metal-ish.
The heavy ones,
apart from Tears of the Dragon, is it even a hard rock album? No,
it's not. It's an alternative album.
Is it even an alternative album?
Well, and as much as it isn't the others. Yeah,
it's a really mixed bag. It doesn't quite know what it is.
It's a mixed bag album.
It's a mixed bag album, and he could have made an acoustic album that would have been easily identifiable, easy to market, easy to and he wouldn't have had a big band set up.
I'd love to hear an acoustic version of "Bring Your Daughter to the School." Bonus track.
But he does the acoustic thing so well.
And that's the final thing I want to say. The bloody raspiness is gone.
The raspiness is gone off No Prayer for the Dying and Fear the Dark.
Yeah. The spitty, crackly voice. Thank God. But anyway, scores.
Watch out. Yes.
It's getting close to midnight.
It's back to the full, smooth, power voice.
Absolutely.
He is using his voice properly. But yeah, scores then.
Now you go first.
So I'm going to give this album a 6.5.
Ooh. Okay.
And that may sound on the high side, considering what I've said. But I think Tears of the Dragon is such a good song.
Yeah.
Giving it a 6, maybe it should be a 6. No, I'll stick with what I'm saying. I'll stick with a 6.
6.5?
No. No, I'm going to give it a 6.
Come on, should I get off the pot?
I think it's 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
I think 6 out of 10 because it's just sinking there. How long? There's some weak tracks. First 3 tracks are good. Couple of okay ones. Couple of crap ones. Yeah, 6. Going to go with a 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's really handy. Because that's the score I was giving it to.
6, was it?
I'm gonna 6 as well. Yeah, for pretty much exactly the same reason.
The same reason.
Tears of the Dragon is better sounding in this album than Fear of the Dark is on Fear of the Dark. It's not as iconic. It's not as important to Maiden fans.
Yep.
The first 3 tracks are great, and there's enough in there to make me pick this up again.
Aye. Yeah.
There's some songs which you've already mentioned. We'll never talk about again ever.
Yeah.
But there are some songs, and some songs I'd love to have seen live myself.
Yep.
Plus, you have the added legacy of these songs being played and documented on YouTube. They're very easy to find with H playing on them.
Adrian Smith playing
really,
on them.
really, and that just brings it to life.
And
if what happened in '99 never happened, we'd be going to see these guys.
Yeah,
we would be traveling to see them.
And I have to say, just with Royce in full metal mode,
you
know, which
Royce's a real find.
Real find.
It's like finding Diego Maradona kicking a cabbage running around, you know, doing a Saras. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That is a brilliant analogy.
Yeah.
He's a real find, and I think probably in future episodes we will maybe talk more about Royce's influence on the whole arc of Maiden.
Yeah.
Because
can't be undermined.
I think it's fairly seismic actually. So, but that is for a later episode. We will. Well, therefore, our overall score, we've given it 6
out of 10.
So
it's easy maths for me, thank goodness, the Friday evening.
So we give Balls to Picasso a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10, that's our factor score.
Let us know what your thoughts are on it.
Again, we really want to hear what you think.
Yep.
It makes it just so much. Well, it makes it worthwhile for us. We love doing it. We're going to be doing it anyway.
Yep.
But it makes it, it's interesting to hear what your take on things, like, especially this period. We know you love Seventh Son. We know you love classic era.
You love Power Slave, we love Number of the Beast, etc. You know,
we love them, but this is the part where it really splits people, and it will continue to in our next episode.
It will. We're acutely aware of the I suppose the division of opinion that the 90s brings around, that's a tough time for Maiden, for them all in a way. But it also means there's loads to talk about. So our next episode, please do not miss.
It's going to be a long,
It'll be a long one.
Maybe 2 parts.
It might be a 2-parter. We will be back to discuss the 1995 X Factor album, or the X Factor album.
The X Factor.
Yes, we will be back soon. So tune in for that, guys.
Listen, like, love and subscribe. Buy your tickets. Buy your albums. Give these songs a spin. It's worth it.
Yep, check it out, and we'll speak soon.